Hello and welcome to AFK Sidequest. I'm your host Rob. Joining me today are my two comrades in arms, Maddie and Luke. So Rob,
what do you have for us today?
I'm glad you asked, comrade. For today I bring claim from glorious motherland.
I'm invested.
Scythe.
Good lord.
Scythe is a 1 to 5 player game made by Stonemaier Games. It is a quite complex strategy game. I'm going to be very rules light.
So Rob, what's the objective of this game?
I'm glad you asked, Luke. The objective of Scythe is to control the board, obtain objectives to get the most points and the most money by the end of the game.
Where is this set? What are we doing?
It is set in 1920s Europa, based around a mythical city-state known as the Factory. The factory was responsible for building a large amount of, effectively, war machines. At the end of the Great War, as they called it, it left a big no man's land with this trove of technology and 5 factions vying over its control. You are one of those 5 factions aiming to control the world. There are 6 different objectives to attain in a game. When somebody has attained all 6, then you go to the point scoring. Your objectives can include winning combats, putting out all of your workers, putting out all of your mechs, building buildings, doing research and upgrades, and ultimately just having a large population.
So as a newbie, how am I going to fare?
You might struggle a little bit just because it can take a bit of time to learn the rules, and ultimately you learn better by doing than you ever will by reading.
Sounds promising.
The box says 115 minutes, but yeah, usually you're looking about an hour, maybe an hour and a half.
Okay.
Bring snacks.
Yeah, exactly. It's a long-running game. It's quite complex. It's not the kind of thing you'll get as a one and done.
Yeah, I've played longer games, but I like games that are around this length. They're like 1 to 2 hour games. They're good.
Yeah, there's a lot of strategy and a lot of complexity in this one, so you need to kind of get into that mindset before you play.
The amount of strategy I've got is making a sandwich. That's how far I can get.
That's more strategy than some people manage.
Meat goes in the sandwich.
So, about an hour and 10 minutes later, the game is done and it's time for the review. As you may soon find out multiple times, the winner of this game was Maddie.
All hail the Republic of Polania. I think we all had a good time there.
However, in the interest of communism, you are not the winner.
Oh,
we are
fuck
all
off.
the winners.
Fuck off. Just because I was the best communist.
There's no such thing. And the fact that you claim yourself
That's
as
an
the best
oxymoron.
means you don't understand at all. So,
No, communism is the best. Communism #1. I am best communist. All hail Polania. So yeah, I'm the best at this game. I'm the most popular, so I won the game. These guys suck.
Jesus Christ.
Do you want to go light on being a dick or?
I'm the winner. I'm the best communist.
Right.
Other than I won, ha ha ha. What do you want to say about this game?
I really like this game, actually. It's got a really good level of complexity. Like, it's not easy to forget rules.
Cannot confirm.
I was about to say, well, Luke, as the newbie to this, do you want to corroborate?
Basically, I feel like the second playthrough of this game would be more fun for me. There was a moment in time where I could have moved an upgrade to any layer, and I was thinking to myself, oh, it needs to be on a certain section I was on.
Oh, you were thinking it needs to go up, down.
So I was like rejigging my strategy because of that, and it turns out you could just do it anyway.
Yeah.
And I had a good 10 to 15 minute argument of how to cross a lake.
I don't like this.
I'm going to use this opportunity to move, so I can go overseas.
You can't move over
I've got river
lakes. You can move across a river onto oil or onto food, but it has to be to those 2 resources. Those are the only ones you can move across a river.
Okay, so I can do that.
No,
That's a lake.
There's a lake in the way.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Bearing in mind, you can just move those guys to there, or there, or there.
Oh, for free?
Yeah, like that's a move action. You go to any of those. Like
Yeah,
you
boy,
teleport
you are
across the
Mr.
map.
Movement.
Because I'm gonna do... Ooh.
Oh! So Maddie's villager gets scared back to home base, and because you made a villager flee, you lose a popularity. Sure. Did you move yellow down on the popularity track?
What happens when you finish an objective card?
Then you say, I've completed the objective, and you play the card.
I've completed an objective.
Which one have you done?
Send one back as a warning. Have 7 power and complete a move action this turn that forces at least one enemy worker to retreat.
So yeah, you've completed your objective. Take your star, put it on the objective board.
That is...
The picture of the latter.
Here we go.
So, good game. I really like the box art. It's really pretty, and some of the art on the cards is absolutely hilarious. There's one of them with these mechs attacking these cows in a field.
The art and world building was done by Jacob Rosalski for this one. He did the story behind it. He did all of the art, of which it's incredible. Like, I love how picturesque so many of the pictures are. And just generally, it just has so much, it has a nice feeling to it. Like, everything about the kind of theming I really, really enjoy.
Another thing I really like about this game is that the players can have different ways of playing. Like, the way the two cards work together is it'll cost some people different amounts to deploy a mech or to upgrade a building or anything like that. So you can actually have a bit of versatility with the way you can play, but it's still quite balanced as well.
Yeah, just to clarify, there are, in the base game, 5 factions and 5 playstyles. The idea is that you shuffle them and you distribute them randomly. It's weird in the factions have very different abilities. I do think maybe that Workers being able to swim isn't anywhere near as good as yours or yours.
Yeah, my ability was really useful. Whenever I get a card where I can choose my outcome, I can choose 2 of the outcomes. I was usually getting the popularity and getting the resources as well.
I feel popularity holds a lot of weight in this.
It does. Well, actually, Rob was saying he played it before. And
Yeah,
he had
when
really high
popularity means a lot, but if you focused it and you lose objectives and you lose resources and everything else, then it doesn't work.
How would you say it's different playing with 3 people and 5 people?
Oh, it's a mess with 5 people.
Yeah.
Like, you got lucky with only having 2 other people to worry about because you could focus on popularity. When you are surrounded on all sides by other guys, everybody vying for space on the board, it really, really, really gets hectic.
You lose popularity for fighting everyone.
Yeah, forcing villagers to flee.
It's not like a lovely bar where you get more popularity as many people you fight. It's the opposite, where you fight more, you become the dickhead who fights everyone, and then you don't get as much coin. The strategy is to kind of be an actual civilization, I guess.
Yeah, it's like you're not just there to smash people and get everything you can on the board, although territory does ultimately matter.
It says players 1 to 5. What's for one person playing this
Allow
on his
me
own?
to explain. This has a system called Automata. The Automata system means that you can play against the rules set out in the book. It draws tiles to dictate how it plays, and it has a set of rules that it follows.
That sounds a bit sad.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not jumping into this one. I have not played this on my own, and neither
Like,
nor will I.
I don't know, like, it would be nice to, it's a way of practicing, I guess, but
That's also
it is
sad.
nice that they've included it, you know?
Yeah, I guess.
Do you reckon in the dystopian future they'll have like robot arms which play board games with you with
Oh,
an
I
AI?
hope so. That means I can just phone this in every day, it'd be great.
Does anybody have anything negative to say about the game?
If you want to play a game in a hurry, this is not the game for you.
Yeah, it does take a good 10 minutes of rule explanation as well.
Yeah, it
it's not
does.
something you can just jump into and start playing immediately.
It
Yeah,
does its best.
as a beginner board gamer, I was sort of like, well, where does this go? Why does this go here? And there was certain elements to it which is sort of like, well, how does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, I think it's one of those things where you also, if you are playing for the first time, you need to rely on the other players being fair with you.
Yeah.
Because there are some people who would use the opportunity to steamroll that fact that you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Whereas a better player would probably say, okay, so you need to do this or this or this.
Yeah, I also
and
needed to
an eye on
keep
what
track
you're
of
doing
like
to
gold
assist.
that was coming in, because there was like certain things like when you deploy, you get something extra. And I feel I missed a few of those just because I was like, okay, I think I've done that right.
There's quite a lot to follow, although I would say it's not actually as complicated as it looks.
Yes.
After a few rounds, I knew what was going on.
Yeah,
So, I mean, it wasn't like completely advanced where I was like, oh, I don't know what the hell's going on. It was more like, it took me a few rounds and I would also forget some of the resources.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
just collecting all my shit.
Yeah, making sure you knew what you had. One thing that is nice is the fact that the playstyle boards have got grooves. They are deliberately built in a way that you know what goes where.
You say deliberately built, the little cubes don't fit in the fucking slot.
But it's clear that a cube should go there.
But it should go there. But it doesn't fit in the fucking slot, Rob.
Yes, Steve Meyer
annoying.
Games, fucking get it together.
Get it together.
It cost me £51.50.
Really?
Like,
I was
for a
expecting
game
more.
with so much in it,
Pretty weighty.
Yeah.
like, I'm really happy with what I got for the cost of it. The second
Gracious
expansion
women.
adds airships. I have no idea how they work, but damn if I'm interested.
I want to see like the trailer for that where we're all playing and then there's just some guy going,
Oh yeah, the third one is, I believe it's called Rise of Fenris, and it has a story. it has a long-running campaign.
For that one
sounds
person.
Interesting.
Yeah, for the one guy versus himself.
This is where he's never won a game.
Bless
And it's the same movement each time, and he's like, for fuck's sake!
Like, in interest of research, I'd be tempted to try playing it and
I mean,
just
you
see how
might
it
as
turns
well.
out.
Yeah, do it on a live stream.
I'll definitely watch it.
Yeah.
It'd be one person watching it, it's me making sure it looks right.
But one thing I am a sucker for and I approve of in this game is it's a really well designed storage system. Everything has its little spot. These all slot into little plastic bits. They have plastic coverings and everything. And I always love that.
Yeah.
It's really quite
I mean,
nice.
just being introduced to games like these, I'd say it's a good start, I'd say.
I will point out, because we did talk about this in a previous review, additionals that you can pay for. What they've done is quite nice in that they've sold a board expansion so that you can have a larger playboard. And the Kickstarter version, funnily enough, actually had little plastic binders to keep it together already.
Is it just scaled up?
Yeah, pretty much. The actual map, if you flip it over, is the same but larger again. And
Oh,
you
I was
can then
wondering
have
about that.
larger.
So you just add on an extra board to fill up the extra space.
Yeah, and one of the other things they
Okay.
did, which is really quite nice, they did realistic resources. So they had the currency,
actual timber.
The currency was made of metal,
Yes,
and the
so
wood
neat.
and everything. It was all properly kind of modelled. Like the oil cans were made of metal and things like it.
Scythe for the 1%.
Yeah,
Who would you recommend this for?
people who have got time to play board games and already have a substantial collection. This is not what I would argue would be the best thing for somebody's first game in a collection.
This was a good, because I play a few games now, this is a good step up for what we've been doing regularly.
Yeah, this is a very good intermediary game. If you want to try and get into doing huge war games, or if that interests you, this might be a decent stepping stone.
The rules are quite simple and succinct. I would say this is a rarity in that it's a game I've only had to check the rules on once or twice to be sure of something. It's otherwise pretty straightforward and self-explanatory. You just need to accompany the fact that there are a lot of options, and that's where things can get confusing.
There's a lot you can choose to do, but whatever you choose to do, it's all written out there for you. You can go, I move this to here, I move this off, I can do this, then I can pay to do this.
Does anybody have anything negative they want to say?
I think your shirt makes you look a little bit like a failed accountant.
Oh, he doesn't want to be cool.
I don't know if you know me, Maddie, I'm definitely not cool.
It's true. Don't play it if you're 10 or under, you'll probably forget things.
Well, it does specifically say 14 and above.
I think 14's a bit of a stretch. You could play it a little bit younger.
Well, you know,
than 14.
12-year-olds are susceptible to communism. What do you think?
Yeah, so we hope you enjoyed this review of Scythe, and we hope that this has made you interested enough to at least try the game. Believe me, it's worth every penny. As somebody who did buy it on an impulse, I'm really glad I did. So, from myself, Maddie and Luke, thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like, share and subscribe. Oh, and finally, in honour of communism, may we all salute to the Soviet national anthem. Hold. Keep holding. Think of sharing. Remember good old Stalin. Lenin shared wealth.
Are you guys gonna...
Shh,
Okay.
you're interrupting
Sorry,
communism.
sorry.
Go away!
Alright, Jesus.